Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Audible. I am Lee from calling all the way from Brunei over in the Far East, and I'm joined today by Steve. No Matteo today. He's still sunning up on his holidays. So let's get into it. Steve, what have you been up to? How's things been going this week?
Hey, do you know, it's been all right. Been on, just been doing some random stuff, going out, having some fun dates. Me and my girlfriend decided the other day to have a fully dressed up date just to go play pool. It was quite funny wearing a 3-piece suit. Other than that, not really a lot, but yeah, just random.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, well, as I mentioned in the intro, I'm currently calling from Brunei. Local time here at the moment is 3:30 in the morning, so that's dedication for you right there. It's body clock still UK time, obviously. Not sleeping properly, but I'm only out here for another couple of days, and I'll be flying home. So let's just get on with it, yeah.
It kind of sounds like, by the way, if you're calling at 3:30 in Brunei, it kind of sounds like Matteo could have joined us.
Matteo definitely could have joined this. Absolutely, I think we should give him some grief next time he's on the podcast about dedication. So, without further ado, let's get into some of those games that happened last week. Let's start with a bit of Thursday night football. So we had the Patriots at the New York Jets. And the Patriots comfortably won that 27-14. What were your views on this game, Steve?
Well, the first thing I'm realizing is I've written all my notes backwards. Somehow this is the last game I wrote notes on.
Wow. Okay.
So my biggest thought is mostly about Travion Henderson. He's had a good few games since Stevenson's been injured. What do you think they're going to do when he's returns? Are they going to take him back out and put him back as a backup, or is he still going to earn those plays?
Yeah, that's an interesting one, isn't it? I mean, I take it you watched this game, did you?
Yeah. I love it. Thursday night, I've got nothing else to do. Got to watch the game.
Absolutely. I think it was. I mean, it's just reinforcing the strength of the Patriots at the moment in my eyes. You know, they nobody expected them to be where they're at right now, and you know, Mike Vrabel's done an amazing job. Let's just put some posts up, shall we? See. Oh, get off that. We've already got a comment in from somewhere in Africa. How about those power rankings?
Yeah, I still think the Broncos are too high up.
Yeah, we'll talk about the power rankings in a bit, shall we? Coach Russ is obviously chirping in as well. I need to get into your pants for my dress. Yeah. That's obviously going back to the fact that I'm in a pantomime this year.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I wasn't here for that announcement.
You weren't, were you? No. So it was quite a funny experience. There's local pantomime where I live in near Cambridge, and there was a call out last minute saying we need a male actor who wants to play a fairy. Somebody who can sing and dance and act and all this fun stuff. And I just thought, you know what? I think that'd be hilarious just to give it a go. So I went down for auditions, and there was 4 of us who auditioned, and I managed to get the role. And so I've had to bring my lines out with me to learn them whilst I'm practice. But yeah, it's going to be a good crack, I think.
Yeah, sounds so we'll just, I think a pantomime would be a lot of fun to do.
Yeah. I mean, the cast is all good. I think Mateo's definitely drunk here. But yeah, I think it's going to be a good laugh, and I'm sure there's going to be some video clips out on Facebook. So if you're not following me, start following me on Facebook or WhatsApp, and you'll start seeing.
There's a cry for some followers there.
There is, isn't it? There's cry for some followers. But anyway, let's get back to some football. Let's talk about those Patriots and those Jets. Yeah, I mean the Jets did show some some sign of life. You know, they put 14 points on a very good Patriots defense.
Yeah.
So it's not all lost, I think, for the Jets at the moment. And I think, you know, from their trade sort of fiasco that they had, you know, before the trade deadline, I think, you know, by 2027, these Jets could potentially be a playoff contending team. Dare I say?
It could be a powerhouse, but they have to just trade and draft correctly.
Yes,
they have to use them properly.
Absolutely, and I think with the 2027 draft possibly being one of the strongest QB drafts the league's had in a good few years, I think, you know, they put themselves in a really strong position. You know, if they draft really well, I think in this next draft, and perhaps look at, you know, building up those trenches first, and then setting the stage for your QB in 2027. I think that, you know, they've got some real good contentions going on.
Yeah, the problem is as well, Justin Fields isn't a bad quarterback. I just think he's in a wrong situation. I just feel like if he was in a different team where the plays made sense for him, it might do better.
Yeah. Matthew Smith coming up there is not as good as Bo Nix. Yeah, I wouldn't say anything about that. Russ coming in. I've seen some panto punts in my time. A lot of shouts of "It's behind you." It is. There is a lot of that, and part of my character is sort of promoting sort of that little gesture. You know, it's behind you. You know, oh no, you're not. Oh yes, I am. So yeah, it's going to be a good laugh. So let's go on to the next game, keeping it with the AFC East theme. Let's talk about the Dolphins over the NFC East Washington Commanders. Did you catch any of this game? What did you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I'll be honest. The only thing I have to say about this game is it was a very disappointing first game for Spain. I don't think it was an exciting game.
I missed most of it because I was flying through the air, and you know, when I looked at the highlights, I think you're absolutely right. I think these games could have been a better slate of games. I think they could have, you know, teased a better game out there. Obviously, no one knows how the teams are going to be. You know, the Dolphins may have been a contender this year. You know, obviously they had, you know, Tyreek Hill and Waddle, and offensively they looked fairly good.
But
something in that background
had a good game. Is it H?
Yeah, I mean, on the ground.
But that's just one person. But other than that, it's just a disappointing first game.
You know, and I think the Commanders need to figure out, you know, what went wrong, because I mean, last year, again, you know, last year they were a bit like the Patriots. This year they were a team that did well, that nobody was expecting to do well, and now they're you know, they lost Jaden Daniels for a number of games. Mariota stepping in. You know, Mariota's a backup quarterback for a reason, I think, and I think
Mariota isn't the backup you even want either.
No,
realistically,
absolutely not. And I think you should be.
I was going to say, based on what you were just saying, I drafted in 2 of my 4 fantasy leagues. I drafted Jaden Daniels because of last year.
Wow.
So he was my starting quarterback, and then week 3 I was just like, I need a new quarterback quick.
Yeah, ditch him, and get a young one who's actually doing a lot better than what he is.
Just surprising. They were such a good team.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, I was expecting them to be, you know, the sort of the NFC contenders to make in the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
But they've bummed out, and they've hit rock bottom, and I don't think they need I think a good holistic sort of approach to next year, and figuring out where they need depth defensively. They need some good players.
Even when Jaden Daniels was playing, like, I couldn't work out what was wrong with the team. There was something that just wasn't quite clicking. It was just mostly
exactly it.
Last year.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I think that it's, you know, they've got some playmakers, but I just think they need a few more. They need, they need a star running back.
Yeah.
They need an edge rusher on the defense, and I think things will start falling into place for them if they can sort that out. But the Dolphins, I think that old saying of putting lipstick on a pig to a bad season. I've I don't see them winning many more games this year. Don't worry, Matteo. We will be emphasising where the Chiefs are on my power rankings when we come to that halfway through the show.
I think just for they have to be in the top 10.
Anyway, moving on to the next game, we had the New York Giants at the Green Bay Packers, and the Green Bay Packers won this one by 27-20. Now, this was a bit of a shock result for me because New York were in this game until the last few minutes, and Green Bay looked like they were struggling. And as we've said, they've lost Scabo, they've lost Malik Neighbors, but yet they're still managing. Jameis Winston, what a comeback game for that man! It's unbelievable. But what did you think, Steve?
Yeah, it's they're not looking like the Packers that you and I were the ones who agreed within like the first 3 weeks that they were going to make a run for the playoffs. They're not. They're suddenly not looking like that anymore, and I don't understand how. Yes, the 8-0 Packers, Matthew. Is what I said. They had 5 drops in the first half. The Packers, and to be fair, they won on an Evan Williams interception in the end zone with 30 seconds left on the clock. Like, it was that close. And then Josh Jacobs got injured. Who knows what's happening there? But
I think if that pass wasn't intercepted, I think this game may have gone into overtime, and it may have been a different score.
I do think so. The Giants as well were more aggressive than they have been all season with their interim coach. They went for 4 fourth downs, and they've barely done that all season. These vodkas are stronger than the vodka, Steve.
Mateo is on it.
I'm just laughing because I know he was drinking whiskey yesterday, so why is he drinking vodka now?
He's trying out the new delicacy out there of different alcohols out there, I think. But yeah, I mean, Jameis had a great game, and when we saw that Jackson Dart wasn't playing, I was just screaming at sort of hope that we didn't see another Russell Wilson appearance. But Jameis, hats off to him. Absolutely did fantastic in this game. And
on the Russell Wilson thing, I saw a post yesterday on Instagram which said that he had a Hall of Fame career and then burnt it by deciding not to retire because he's been awful in the last few years. So, do you think he's ruined his own chances of Hall of Fame?
Do you know what? I mean, that's a really good point because, imagine if he'd have just gone, I've come to the end of my Seahawks career. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. That would have been, the end to the fairy tale of his career, I think. You have to be mad to have Russell Wilson as your QB. I mean, that's absolutely right.
That's kind of the point. He was Hall of Fame a few years ago, and now he's just no.
The thing is, I mean, how much hype did he have when he went to the Broncos? They thought, oh, the Broncos, they're going to be the next best team, and then that was the start of his decline.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, I mean, there we go. Giants ran 70%, and the O line looked good. Yeah, I mean, Jameis Winston.
Jameis Winston, though. Yeah, you have to go on a run.
I mean, the good thing about Winston is, again, he's got wheels, hasn't he? He can take off if he is going to pass the ball and he feels the pressure and there's no one open. He can just take it down the field. But then
he's definitely one of the best RPO quarterbacks.
Absolutely.
If you want to play RPO, you definitely want someone like him in the squad.
And I think what the Giants need now is, who is Malik Neighbors' buddy? Who's the number 2 wide receiver there? They haven't got a standout wide receiver 2. You look at teams like, the Eagles with AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, or you then go to the Chiefs and look at Rashid Rice and Xavier Worthy. Every team has got 2. Jamar Chase and T Higgins. They've always got 2 sort of really, really good wide receivers that they can just stretch the field with. Put some sort of routes in there that's going to put the defense under pressure. And I just don't feel that they've got it this year. 11-yard QB sneak from Winston. I mean, that was hilarious.
That was a big play.
That was. I mean, it just he broke that line and just kept going. His offensive line got behind him, gave him a good push, and yeah, it was really good there. Nathan coming in there, good, better, best. Never let it rest until your good is better and your better is the best. Bears are 7-3. Well, we're coming on to the Bears shortly, so we'll talk about how good the Bears are.
If that's a chant or a song, or if that's something I don't quite understand what's going on.
Nathan's obviously a secret poet. Obviously, we don't know about. It was. I think it was a. Although the Giants lost and their record isn't looking favourable, I think they've got.
Well, they're going to be in a good place starting next season once they've got everyone back.
That's exactly it.
And also on your most teams having 2 wide receiver things, I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of safeties are now having cornerback training, because look, like 5 years ago, safeties used to be just hard hitters. They'd run at the runner and they'd hit him and take him out. And now all of a sudden they're following wide receivers and they're actually route stoppers. So they're now having to dual train safeties because a lot of teams are doing the wide receiver split. Especially when you look at the Chiefs, we normally got 4 players who could.
Yeah. I mean, it's.
It would be helpful if you spelled damn right.
Damned. It's like damn with a lamb. I mean, it's the end. The league's constantly sort of evolving into the next generation of players, and I think you're absolutely right there with the sort of safeties. Not just being the last man to beat or the blitzing sort of safeties that they often have, but they're now looking at different cover situations where they have got to cover those wide receivers going deep. And
I mean, to be fair, the only reason I noticed, I was a DB, so I played quarterback and safety, and I know the difference. And when I'm watching the games, I'm suddenly watching people who were safeties a couple of years ago are now doing route blocking. I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah,
that used to be 2 separate parts of the game, and now apparently it's the same thing.
Yeah, I think it's a part of the game where if you can make sure everybody's covered downfield, and just give your defensive line and another couple of split seconds of QB questioning where he's throwing that ball, then that gives that opportunity for the D line to get home and to start putting pressure onto that QB and potentially getting a sack. That's why I think people like Myles Garrett is getting excessive amounts of sacks this year, and obviously with the Giants. Can't remember his name now. What's his name? The guy who's contending. I'm sure Russ will poke up in a minute and tell me who it is.
Myles Garrett's actually on track to beat the single season sack record. He also has more sacks than the entire Bengals defense put together.
Wow.
Done 15 already.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, that is...
He should have taken a trade years ago.
Yeah.
Gone to an actually good team. He'd have a ring by now.
Do you know what? That was one of the things I was, when I was watching that game, the kind of the question popped into my head. what players are currently sitting on the wrong team in sort of the respect of their talent level compared to the team talent level. Myles Garrett for me is sort of the ideal sort of person to kind of say he needs to be on a Super Bowl winning team. He is without a shadow of doubt, a Hall of Famer that is never going to win a Super Bowl. Not until he bites a bullet, takes a pay cut, and joins a team to win himself a ring.
The thing is that when you say takes a pay cut, he's still going to be getting millions a year. Like, how greedy do you have to be?
I mean, some people are, they may see themselves as, they're loyal to a team, but I think in Miles' case, I think it's purely down to the fact that he can outshine, the rest of his players.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
so then that goes to the point of, if we put him on, say we put him on a Super Bowl contending team, would he still stand out as well, or would he just be an average D lineman?
Absolutely. That's it's a really good question. Right, let's move on to this next game. Not really, for me, it wasn't really that entertaining. The Titans versus the Houston Texans. So the Tennessee Titans 13, Houston 16. This was watching paint dry. I am sorry, but nothing happened until the fourth quarter, and even then it wasn't really that exciting. We knew the Texans was going to win. The Tennessee put up a little bit of a fight, but you look at the first half, I think it finished 3-0, 3-0 to Tennessee at a half. It wasn't a great game.
For me, all I've got to say about this game is that the Texans D is the only thing giving him much of a chance. Is Miles that good? He deserves a team to win a Super Bowl. Miles,
he's not single-handedly going to win the Browns a Super Bowl. He's not that good, I don't think.
I've just realised you spelled Miles incorrect. That's why I was confused. I was like, who's Miles?
He's probably about 20 deep in vodka right now. I don't think he's probably. Yeah, there we go.
I think Coach Ross finally given us the answers.
Finally, he's been scrolling through his players' names, Thibodeau and Carter. Yeah.
So for me, the Texans D is the only thing giving him a chance. But the only thing I wanted to bring up was, do you think that another thing of being in a wrong situation, Cam Ward at the Titans, do you think how bad his team is ruining his development?
Absolutely. I mean, how many times have we seen that song being played? Where star Q quarterback coming out of sort of college in the number one overall pick, and then he lands in a team which absolutely suck. Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold, for instance.
Yeah, true.
Perfect example. And it's not until the team has enough of him, gets rid of him, he then joins a team, and all of a sudden he's a superstar again. So I think enough said on that one. I've had a request to jump a few games forward.
Any reason?
Let's just quickly share this one. So this one's from Nathan with Bears welcoming Johnson and Kyler Gordon and TJ Edwards back from injury. Kelvin Byard leading the NFL in interceptions with GJ, a multi-tool piece is the Bears defense low key in the top 5. Well, if you look at the top 5 interceptors, the Bears hold 3 of them in that top 5. So yes, they are a low key, amazing sort of defense.
The Bears account for 13 interceptions in the top 5.
Yes.
No, that was one of my stats. That's why I was just jumping.
That's one of your stats. We'll come to that in a bit. We'll come to that in a bit. Yes, we are going to move on to the Broncos at the Chiefs.
Oh, someone's at my door.
Someone's at your door. See you later, mate.
So are we getting a little visit from Mateo, or?
I don't know. I'm just waiting for him to pop up on my screen. But wait. Who's this guy?
Who's this? Little vodka man.
Yes, boys. Up the Broncos. I don't even know if you can hear me because the Wi-Fi is that bad. But how about them? How about them Broncos against them 5-5 Chiefs who are somehow still in people's power rankings? Would you believe it? Would you Adam and Eve?
Hey, I can believe it. We're a good team.
Nothing. Oh, mate, you're as well. Mate. Stop it. You've got the same record as the Steelers. No, I think Steelers might have a better record.
Steelers have a better record.
Okay. Would you rather I was a pretend fan who didn't speak about the Chiefs even when we lost? Or
sorry, is what you? It might be.
Oh.
That's such a still frame right there. Oh my God, Matteo, your internet's shocking, mate. Your internet's shocking. Just keep drinking. Keep drinking.
It is. I'm just gonna leave. I'm just gonna leave on this note, boys. I'm just gonna leave on this note. The Chiefs, they don't belong in the top 10, and I'm gonna make a bold prediction. They're not even gonna be a wild card. You lot have a good one. I'll see you next week. I don't even think that's working.
That's a pretty bold prediction.
We've lost him.
We've lost him. That's pretty bold. We do
have a pretty
rough, like we don't have the easiest run to get into the wildcard team squad, but if we sit down and buckle up, we can do it.
Yeah, I mean, this was a tight game, and it was. I think it played by two fantastic, fantastic teams there. Pause to order another drink. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right there. Still at it. Chief won't make the playoffs. No. Well, I've done some calculations, and I've worked out that they will make the playoffs. I think looking at their schedule up ahead.
I was gonna say, was that your spreadsheet that you posted yesterday?
Yeah. So I found myself with 5 minutes to sort of look at the games coming up, and I've just done likelihood who's going to be in contention for playoff positions and stuff, and I've got the Chiefs coming in just enough to make the playoffs, and I don't think that's I don't mean to disrespect the Chiefs here, but I don't think that's a reflection of how good they've been. I think it's a reflection on how bad the AFC has been this year, and I think there's going to be 3 AFC West teams in the playoffs this year.
Me and Matteo were saying that in the first few weeks. I don't see the Chargers doing it now, even though they're currently ahead of us. But yeah,
I've got them coming in at number 7 in the AFC, so they will be coming in bottom of the wild card there. And
the AFC has been. There's like a handful of good teams, and the rest of them have been pretty awful. So
yeah. Coach Ross coming in there. So many teams this year with a 2-8 or a 7-3 this season. Absolutely, and it wasn't until I actually sort of finished my sort of prediction that I realised that there is going to be a lot of teams with a finishing off the season with a sort of a 3-14 or a 4-13 sort of season.
What's funny is there is one team that can be mathematically written off from the playoffs this week if they lose, and it is the Giants. It is the Giants. If they lose this week, they're out of the playoffs. That's it. Funny enough, the only team as well. Got a feeling your internet died there, bro. Whilst Lee's working that one out, we may as well go into the Bears and the Vikes. So the Bears have, as we said earlier...
I'm back in the room. Sorry.
You're back in the room?
Back in the room. Internet's terrible.
I was just jumping into the Bears and the Vikes game.
Yeah, let's talk about the Bears and Vikings game.
Yeah. Which again, I was just reiterating that they have 3 of the top players in the top 5 interceptions, accounting for 13. Somehow the Bears are the number 1 in the NFC North. They also have the most takeaways in the NFL all season. Who's for any of this coming?
I mean, it's a bit of a shock. Obviously with Ben Johnson going over there from the Lions to the Bears, he obviously is having a fantastic start to his head coach career. And I think he's, come next year when he starts looking at the next draft and start picking up the pieces on what he needs to improve. I think that one of the key things is his offensive line. Too many holes are being generated and allowing, pressures up the middle.
Do we think that Caleb Williams is the future for him?
I mean, yeah, I honestly do. I think he is. I think you give him a bit more protection. He's shown over this last game his escapability power.
Yes.
Evading pressure and making plays when he's scrambling out of the pocket. I think he's. I mean, he's not going to be the next Patrick Mahomes or, the next, Josh Allen, but I think he's definitely going to be, the next, the tier below them, if you know what I mean. A QB that could get him into the playoffs, give him a good run, and hopefully, maybe make a Super Bowl in the future. I don't know.
That does bring up an interesting question, though. How many QBs do you think have lent on good offensive coordinators to make them look good? Like, especially Tom Brady's first year or two, and stuff like that.
Tom Brady's had some fantastic sort of OCs. Obviously, we all know Bill Belichick's a defensive mastermind, and he relies on people like, their OCs in providing those games. And I think with Ben Johnson being an offensive mind as a head coach, guiding his OC into how he wants his offense to run, I think is having a positive effect on the team as a whole. And as Nathan said earlier, I think the defense is showing up. Byatt and all the other guys who have just picking those balls out of the air and giving the offense a chance to show something on the field is great to see. So
if anything, that's what the Bengals want their defense to do, whilst they don't currently have a good offense working.
Yeah,
I mean, there's plenty of other teams doing the same sort of thing, but that defense. It's not like a big sacking defense, but it is a very good corner safety secondary defense.
Yeah. And I'm interested to see what's going on with the Vikings as well. Their poor performance. I can't really pinpoint what's going on with that team. You've got JJ McCarthy, Justin Jefferson. The pieces are there. They're just not fitting together.
Yeah, and they have got at least a top 10 running back. So the offensively should be putting numbers up, but is it the strength of schedule? Have they just come up against teams that are better on the defense? Bear in mind, JJ is still a rookie, so he might just be getting a little bit scared.
Yeah.
And obviously, unfortunately, they've had a few games without JJ and they were playing.
Yeah.
People just know it was good.
No, I think you're absolutely right there. But anyway, let's move on to the next game. We had the Falcons against the Panthers. We all backed the Panthers to win. The Falcons to win this one, and yet the Panthers won 30-27. Quite a high-scoring game, to be fair. What did you think of this one?
Well, it makes me laugh that the last. So this was obviously their division rivals. This was the second game in the series. Panthers won the series. Never saw that coming. But if you cast your mind back to, what was it, like week 4 or something? When the Panthers held the Falcons to 0 points. I was not... again, I went for the Falcons, but I didn't think it was going to be a high-scoring game at all.
No,
and Bryce Young put up 448 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He looked like a good quarterback out there that game. Do we think the Vikings are done? They're on a 5-game losing streak.
Yeah.
Falcons, sorry. Falcons are done.
I think obviously Penix has gone out now with an injury as well. He went into concussion protocol, so we're probably not going to see him for the next game.
I saw earlier he's out for the season. I don't know what happened.
Oh, he was out for the season. I think that was a... Yeah, you're right. It was an injury as well, wasn't it?
So I don't even know who their backup is. I'll be honest, I don't know who the Falcons' backup is.
The Falcons is Kirk Cousins.
It could be a worse backup, to be fair.
It could be a worse backup, but Kirk Cousins is very much... He's a split personality. If he's on it, he's on it. If he's not, you're gonna struggle.
He's another one of those quarterbacks. When you look at their good weeks, you could see him winning a Super Bowl, but they just can't keep doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on to the next game. 100% of our audience, as well as all of us three, backed the Chargers to take care of business against the Jaguars. Oh, how wrong we all were. The Jaguars won 35-6, and quite a dominant game for them to show up against. What did you think of this, mate?
Honestly, so as everyone who watches knows, I make notes on every game. The only thing I've written for this game is just in capital letters, ha ha ha. Obviously, the Chargers are a division rival. I love watching them lose, almost as much as I love watching the Raiders lose, and I couldn't be bothered to write anything else.
Do you know what? It just offense just wasn't there.
No. Herbert seems to have been off for a long time now this season.
Yeah.
He started off really good. What did he go, like 3-0, 4-0, something like that? Looked really good, and then just fell off a cliff.
And I think that's the inconsistency. That's, if they do make the playoffs, as I've got them in my sort of projected playoff berth, I think they're literally going to fall out of the wildcard position straight away. I've got them coming in at number 7, and I don't think they're going to progress beyond that.
Well, that would put them against... Would that be your number 2? Who's your number 2?
That'll be number 2, which would be the Broncos. No, not the Broncos. The Broncos would be number 1, so it'd be the Bills. The Patriots. Sorry, Patriots.
Yeah. I think that'd be the first time I'd be happy to watch the Patriots lose, to be fair.
Yeah, so it'd be the Patriots versus the Chargers, and then it would be a couple of divisional games, I think it was. Yeah, so it was really interesting to do that sort of that paper exercise, just to see, how it could fall into place.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'd have the Broncos clinching the number 1 seed, the Patriots number 2, and then the Ravens. No, the Colts at number 3, and then the Ravens in the number 4 seed with their win-loss record. And then it was the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Chargers coming in the wild card positions. So yeah, it'd be interesting. But yeah, I mean, I was flabbergasted over this game against the Jags and the Chargers. The Chargers are hot and cold. They're either doing it or they're not, and their inconsistencies is something that Jim Harbaugh need to really look at and figure out what changes he needs to make. And obviously, with they've been riddled with pure unluckiness and in their offensive line with losing their left tackles, right tackles, and yeah.
I mean, at this point, they're down to like the 8th person on one of the sides on the O line. Like, it's getting insane.
Yeah. It's I think they just need to press that big reset button and just see what they can do next year.
So that's the question: does that come down to a coaching problem? If it's happening to the same position repeatedly, there's got to be a repeated problem.
You think it's more of a technique sort of stance rather than I mean, that could be a good call. Or it could just be purely unlucky that they've got that many injuries. As an O-line coach myself, you teach your players to do things a certain way. I mean, that's an interesting sort of insight to that reason why they're doing so bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, swiftly moving on to the next game, we had 80% of the public, myself and you, Steve, back in the Bills to beat the Buccaneers. Mateo, for some reason, obviously was still on those vodkas or whiskies.
He was already on those vodkas.
He was already on those. He backed the Buccaneers. And this was a great game to watch. This was a fantastic game to watch. Obviously you've probably got your stats all over Josh Allen on this. He had a fantastic game through a fantasy point of view anyway.
Yeah.
What have you got?
So, I mean, first of all, this is a scoregami. So anyone who doesn't know, a scoregami is a score that's never happened before in NFL history. 44-32, first time that's ever happened. It was close for 3 quarters, but honestly, for me, it's Allen throwing and rushing scored 6 touchdowns. He also threw 2 picks. It was like he played 2 games in one. Like, how do you what 6 touchdowns and 2 interceptions? If that's college ball.
Yeah,
that was not NFL.
And again, when you have these type of games, what reflection are you looking at? Was the offense that good, or was the defense that bad?
Yeah, it's a bit of both. That's why I sort of question whether either of these 2 teams are going to make the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They may have been both of the highest scoring players, like teams within the league, but their defenses aren't doing anything.
No.
So I think conference round at most. What you need is one of these teams' offenses with like the Broncos or the Chiefs or the Eagles' defense. That's sort of what you want.
Yeah.
You can't have a very good offense who's just hoping the best to score more than the defense lets.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it was an amazing game to watch, as we said, rushing touchdowns from Josh Allen, passing touchdowns. It was great from a fantasy owner point of view. If you had Josh Allen in your fantasy, you're probably quids in on that game. The Bucs, you had him, fantastic. The Bucs, they're 6-4 now, I believe, on the season. So they're still not out of contention. They're looking good. I've still got them winning their division hands down. But again,
that's what I've said. They win in that division 100%.
It's
but also like it's also looking like our curse from a couple of weeks ago is just carrying on now.
Oh my days! Yeah. So
I'm just concerned how long our curses last.
Yeah, we'll come to the curse when we come to the Eagles game. So the next one, let's move on to the Steelers versus the Bengals. Now, 67% of the public voted for the Bengals, as did you, Steve, on this one. Myself and Matteo went for the Steelers, and the Steelers walked away with the win.
Honestly, not much of a surprise.
No, I think it's we spoke about this before we came on the pod with Joe Flacco in at the helm and Burrows, still on the sideline with his injury. What impact is he going to have if and when he does come back? I think the Bengals season's pretty much wrapped up and they're done for the season. I don't think they're going to be. I think mathematically, I don't think they're going to be able to make the playoffs unless the Ravens and the Steelers nosedive. I think they're pretty much done. But yeah, the Steelers put up a really good performance. Aaron Rodgers comfortably putting the ball where it needed to be. You got any stats for us on this one?
I haven't got any stats. I did want to bring up the Jamar Chase one-game ban, which he's still appealing. He's still saying he didn't spit on that person. But it's hard to know. It's hard to know whether like that just ruins him for the next game because he's the only player on their team that's any good at this point.
Yeah.
Take him away, then what's the point?
I mean, that was a bit of a that was a bit of a brawl between Jalen Ramsey and Chase in that game, wasn't it? That was got the whole team.
It was, but I don't think he spat on him. And I also don't think spitting on him is also worth a one-game ban. Like, it's an aggressive sport. Emotions run high sometimes. It's not like he's punched it or anything. But also, the one thing I did write, because I did watch this game, the one thing I did write down was that Rodgers was holding onto the ball too long, too often.
Yeah, he's getting too comfortable in that pocket, really, isn't he?
He is. Like, his career, if you look back, has been him passing the ball really fast.
Yeah.
Not having to do much, not running around. Very much like a Tom Brady sort of career. But all of a sudden in this game, he just didn't want to let go of the ball, and it was just like I couldn't work out what he was doing. Check it down, get it out of bounds, do something with it. Don't just keep holding it.
He did have
also the turning point was late in the third, the pick six.
Yeah.
They drove like a pick six. They sort of then just like held on to the momentum at that point.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. It's good to see Aaron Rodgers using his legs. Did see him running like a Bambi on skates, running down the field.
Have you seen any of the pictures whenever the Steelers do like a tush push, he just stands there with his arms on his hips. And it's just like, what the hell?
I mean, when you've got
doing it one man down,
when you've got
standing and watching for a laugh.
When you've got a tight end as big as Washington, why would you not use him more? I mean, that guy is a unit.
Yeah, true. I mean, Rodgers is in his 40s now, so yeah, fair enough. Stand back and watch.
Stand there and just be comical and point for a first down. Anyway, let's move on to the next game. We had the Arizona Cardinals, and 85% of the public backed the Cardinals to win in this one, as did you, Steve.
That's crazy.
And myself and Matteo went for the San Francisco 49ers, who comfortably won 41-22 in this game. Brock Purdy was back, and I think you've got a really good stat about Jacoby Brissett, have you not?
Well, I've got a couple for this game. So Jacoby Brissett breaks an NFL record for the most passes completed in a game with 47. Which is wild that someone like Jacoby Brissett breaks that record.
Yeah.
Not a Patrick Mahomes, not a Tom Brady, not a Josh Allen. Jacoby Brissett does it. But also on the flip side, CMC hasn't ran a longer run than 16 yards all season.
Has he not? That is
no.
That's an incredible stat. That one.
His longest run is 16 yards.
Wow.
And like he used to be 80 yards a player half the time sometimes, and now he's doing 16.
Interesting.
Is it a play design? Is it just I can't work out what's going on there.
I don't know.
And also the Cardinals had 17 penalties in this game, which is an insane amount of penalties.
Yeah, discipline's going to work. Discipline will lose you games. But yeah, I think the 49ers comfortably won this one. Brock Purdy's back, as I said at the beginning. Just again, the Cardinals just don't look like they've got the pieces they need to contend this year. Trey McBride is another player that I had on sort of that question for, should this player be on another team? Should this player be
again put him on a good squad?
Yeah.
But also again, if you put him on a good squad, say like you put him on a Chiefs who's got a big roster of receivers, would his numbers like half? Would they stay the same or?
I think it's complementary football, isn't it? And I think if you put, you look at again, I'm obviously putting the Eagles forward, but you look at, Dallas Goedert against, his core of receivers that they've got at AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. He still manages to get the ball. He still manages to contend in the top flight of tight ends. And I think if you put Trey McBride into an offense such as the Bengals, for instance, how much better will the Bengals be in that sort of respect? And at the moment, the Cardinals I don't feel like they've got the receiver core to really truly complement the team fully. But anyway, let's move on to the next one. So we had, in my eyes, I think this was by far the game of the week. The LA Rams versus the Seattle Seahawks. 92% of the public backed the Seahawks, as well as Mateo, myself, and you, Steve, backed the Rams to win this one, and we were correct as I beat the Seahawks 21-19. What did you think of this game?
I'm just questioning whether the Seahawks have suddenly hit a point where they're going to start falling downhill. Because like we've been talking about them in the last few weeks being like one of the top teams, and then all of a sudden they've been like pretty bad. 4 interceptions, but also throwing 4 interceptions and only losing by a handful of points. Your defense is stepping up and helping that.
Absolutely.
And
this was a
one of my
defensive game.
One of my favorite stats of the week. After that win, Matthew Stafford, for the first time in his entire NFL career, is over 0.5. He's on 116, 115, and 1.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
He's had a losing record up until yesterday. Well, Sunday.
Yeah, I mean that's
he won a Super Bowl in that time. During that time, he's won a Super Bowl with a losing record.
And I think that just proves, how many games that they lost, how many games he lost whilst he was in Detroit. And again, it's just another prime example. You put a great QB in a better team. How much better do they perform? I think. I've got the Chargers. The Chargers. I've got the Rams winning this division. No, I haven't. I've got the Seahawks winning this division, actually. I think when the Rams travel up to Seattle, I think the points differential is going to be slightly larger in favor of the Seahawks, and I think they're going to have that in their favor, and they're going to win their division on the same points, but that tiebreaker, I think, is going to be in their favor. So I think the Seahawks are going to win their division, and the Rams are going to be going into the playoffs through the wild card. But yeah.
Oh, this is 100%. This is 100% two teams that's going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
There's no question about it.
Absolutely. How far they make it in the playoffs, that's going to be the interesting question.
See, the Hawks has got the defense that, again, the Chiefs would only have to play them if we got to the Super Bowl, but they are the defense that I'd worry about in the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like, coming into this week, they had a top 3 defense and a top 3 offense. And yet, no one's really sat there talking about them.
No, they are the most underrated team, I think, in the NFL right now.
100%.
Underrated.
Especially with JSN. You got a JSN, you're going to worry about that.
I mean, that one-handed catch that he did on the sideline just seemed to just pick the ball out of the air and carry on in stride, sprinting down the field. It was just incredible to watch.
It was insanely beautiful. That was just like beauty put on a screen.
Yeah.
And I was just watching it. I was like, what?
It was incredible. Anyway, moving on to the next. We've got 3 more games to cover. So the next one we had the Cleveland Browns at the Baltimore Ravens. Somebody's having a joke on these. The public, 75% of the public backed the Browns to win. Don't know where they were.
What was half the public on?
I have no idea. Obviously, us 3, we all backed the Ravens to win, and the Ravens won 23-16 against the Browns. And again, we've already covered the stat on Myles Garrett getting some career high sacks in games like this where it counts. And I think
like I said, he's on 15, so
that's incredible. That's incredible.
Was it week 11? He could smash the record if he carries on.
I mean, they're on a 4-game winning streak now. The Ravens, they're now 5-5. Yeah. And they've crept up into my power rankings, which we'll talk about shortly. But yeah, you got anything else on this game?
What did you think to the Mark Andrews fake tush push?
Do you know what?
Because I've got a lot of Ravens.
Yeah, I thought that was incredible.
I've got a lot of Ravens fans who messaged me saying they hated that play.
I did, really. I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. The Eagles do it every now and then as well. They line up for a tush push, and then they'll throw a ball out to one of the tight ends who slipped off the edge of the play, or toss it out to Saquon who's done something. And I think it just brings a separate, a second dynamic to it. Too many people now predicting that they're going to be a tush push. And for him just to roll off the back end and just run it however many yards.
To do it as a direct snap as well, and to rush all around himself.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
I thought it was an impressive play. And then he scored. It was like a 35-yard touchdown or something like that as well.
Yeah, it was.
It wasn't even like a goal line touchdown. It was a 35-yard play.
He ran a good length, and the defense, he was being chased down the field, but the defenses just weren't ready for that. There was no outside contain. Too many people are just trying to put their bodies on the line to prevent the tush push. But yeah, it was a great.
It's a very smart play. Also, the other stat I saw was that in the last 2 weeks, Baltimore have only scored 3 touchdowns in 9 drives when they were inside of the 20. Wow. So are they suddenly finding a point where they're falling backwards?
Yeah.
Or
I think this definitely wasn't their strongest performance in the last few weeks.
Well, no, and again, the week before wasn't either.
Yeah.
That's why I looked into it. 3 touchdowns in 9 drives. All their touchdowns have been longer than red zone, but when you're in a red zone, you should be scoring.
Absolutely. And I think they've got a favourable schedule coming up, and I think I've got them nipping the Steelers in just at the last few games, and I think unfortunately,
I 100% think they're going to win that division, but I don't think they're going to go far in the playoffs.
No, I think I had them going out in the first round. To be fair. Right, moving on to the next game. Sunday Night Football, we had the Philadelphia Eagles and the Detroit Lions. 58% of the public had the Eagles to win this one. Myself and you, Steve, backed the Eagles, and Matteo backed the Lions. And the Eagles won 16-9. What were your views on this one before I go at it with how amazing the Eagles have been this year?
I mean, I'll let you talk, but all I'm going to say is it was a very defensive game. I think it's very similar to the Chiefs-Broncos game.
Yeah,
like it was more of a defensive show-off than it was an offensive show-off. But I have no stats or anything else, so I'll let you.
Yeah, so I mean,
ahead.
do you know what one of my favorite stats for this one is how ballsy Dan Campbell has been with his offense and putting his faith and trust into the offense. 5 attempts the Lions had on fourth down, and 5 attempts they failed. And obviously Dan Campbell's taken over play calling for the Lions, and I think he's perhaps become a little bit overconfident in his play calling abilities in this game. Yes, he was down, he was trailing, he's trying to give something to his offense to give him the spark to get downfield, but I think 5 attempts, honestly. But as you said, the defense stood strong. And
that's what I was going to say. If they failed 5 attempts and you still only scored 16 points, then maybe Dan Campbell was right to trust his defense if they messed up.
Yeah, defensively, this was an amazing game, and I said on the pod last week, how amazing, the Eagles' defense is now, and that's why they're at the top of my power rankings. Defensive wins Super Bowls. They are strong. The addition to Phillips on that offensive line, Brandon Graham coming out of retirement. Not as much for a performance point of view from Brandon Graham, but more of just a strong personality in that locker room. And I think he's done a lot behind the scenes that we don't probably see as fans. But there is still question marks over the Eagles' offense. Yes, we're still putting points on the board. There's still questions over the offensive coordinator play calling, but
I mean, I still agree that with most fans that I think you need to be playing more air game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Most of your receivers aren't getting the ball anywhere near enough as much as they should.
No, and I think there's too many checkdowns if there is coming up. Dallas Scott is having an amazing season because they're putting the short yardage in rather than pushing deep, and maybe that's just defenses responding to the threat from Brown and Smith, going deep. But there was a lot of drop passes as well. I can remember watching this game thinking, AJ Brown is complaining that he's not getting the ball. Well, you've got to catch it first.
To be fair, I was going to say that's all I thought about watching a Chiefs game. X couldn't catch a ball. Hollywood Brown couldn't catch a ball. Rashee Rice couldn't catch a ball. Travis dropped a ball.
Yeah.
It's just like you're putting. Everyone's saying that Patrick Mahomes is the problem, but he's not. But it's hard to say it's everyone else when they just suddenly can't catch a ball for a game.
Absolutely.
It's the same on your end. It's the same on your end. If they're dropping balls, that's not the quarterback's fault.
No. But I've got both of these teams. The Eagles and the Lions making the playoffs, winning their divisions.
Yeah.
And actually getting quite far into the playoff berth. But yeah, moving on to the.
Do you think this could be a divisional, no conference round?
I actually do have them going up against in the conference round. I've got the Eagles going up against the Rams and the Lions going up against the Seahawks. And I've got the Lions potentially upsetting the Seahawks to face the Eagles in the NFC Championship game. But we'll see.
That would be a good rematch.
That would be a very good rematch. On to our final game. Monday Night Football, we had the Raiders against the Cowboys. 58% of the public went for the Raiders, and 42% went for the Cowboys, as well as us. And the Cowboys got the victory. I have not watched this game. I didn't really fancy watching this. Did you catch this game?
I did. Again, it's Monday night. I got nothing to do. I'm going to watch football. But I like the most disappointing stat for me is that Genti got 6 carries for 7 yards. But he's been playing really well. So is that a play call problem? Is that him a problem? What's the problem there?
Yeah, I mean, you've got to give it to your good players. One of your best players, in my eyes. Yeah. You know, he's going to be a game changer for that team. And if they don't use him wisely, they're going to lose him to another team who does want him, who's willing to put a series of draft picks in to acquire him once his rookie contract's up. Yeah, I mean the Cowboys are getting it done. I think it's too little, too late for them. Unfortunately, none of these teams are going to make the playoffs in my eyes.
The Cowboys have the next 3 of the Cowboys games. I feel sorry for them. They've got the Eagles, the Chiefs, and the Lions.
Yeah, it's pretty much lose. And I think they may grab another couple of wins just to finish sort of mid-table, and obviously put themselves out of a potential good draft pick for next year's draft.
That's what I was going to say. At that point, you may as well just lose the games. So the only actual interesting stat I had was during the first half, the Raiders played an RPO of 40.6% of the snaps.
Wow.
During them, they were 7-12. They got 174 yards and an interception.
So they were moving the ball.
They were moving the ball. Geno Smith was just not making the right decisions. Like, if you sit back and watch it, like, the interception that should have been a run play, but he threw it anyway because he's dumb. And just like he was trying to run it and getting tackled, like he just can't read a defense. It looks like.
Yeah. I don't know what's Again, he's another player that's moved away from Seattle and not really shining. And I don't think he was ever a Hall of Famer. Like Russell Wilson potentially was.
No, I think he was better in Seattle.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely was. And obviously they decided to part ways with him, and Seattle have obviously shown that they've made the right choice and gone with Sam Darnold.
Business-wise, Seattle's done well, but 100%.
Yeah. Right, because so that was.
If Geno Smith was still at Seattle, there would not be a playoff contention team in my eyes.
No, absolutely.
No matter who their wide receiver was.
Absolutely not. So that was week 11. Quickly talk about power rankings. So power rankings, which I think are going to be published probably soon, I think. Let's talk about. So let's work from number 10 up to number 1. So in the power rankings, we have the Buccaneers still at number 10. I think after their performance against the Bills at the weekend, I think they've solidified their position, still within the top 10. They're still going to win their division, as we've said, but they don't move down, they don't move up. They kind of just stay where they are. I think the Ravens they've reared their head into the top 10. winning 4 games on the bounce is pretty impressive. The Colts still loitering around in number 8. They're getting things done. They're looking good. Obviously, they've got some probably a few easy games coming up for the next couple of weeks, and I've still got them as winning their division hands down. The Lions have slipped a little bit, so I had the Lions a little bit higher up last week, and this week they've dropped after their loss to the Eagles. Not dropped too far, but they've dropped to the number 6 position. Number 7 position there. Just above them, we had the Seahawks, who again had a really unfortunate loss to the Rams. Again, I still think they're probably going to win their division, but we'll see how that one pans out. Number 5, we've got the non-mover, the Bills. Although they beat the Buccaneers, I think that the teams that are above them are showing that they are probably more likely going to be better fitted into the off season. Mateo's going to love this. We have the Denver Broncos at number 4 in the power rankings. I'm sure that's coming. The number 3, we have the New England Patriots, the underrated New England Patriots at number 3. They're on track to winning that division. In my eyes, I think they're going to be. They've got some real good contention to even make the actual Super Bowl this year if they carry on their trajectory. Number 2 in the power rankings, we have the Los Angeles Rams. They're looking strong. Everything's looking good. I think there's a few flaws that they need to fix, but apart from that, I think they're sitting pretty at number 2, and then number 1 again. We've still got the Philadelphia Eagles bias maybe, but I think they've got one of the best defenses in the league now, and I think they're going to be the team that's going to be heading to the Super Bowl again. So let's quickly shoot over the games, the slate of games that we've got this week. So on Thursday Night Football, we have the Bills at the Texans. Who have you got for this one, Steve?
Obviously the Bills. I did. Yeah. This is one of the games that I don't even think I'm going to watch it.
No. I'm going to catch up on sort of on the red zone to watch the highlights, but it's going to be the Bills game. I don't think the Texans,
especially after 6 touchdowns last week. Allen's not going to have a rubbish game this week.
No, I think you're absolutely right there. And then we've got the Jets at the Ravens.
So for me, I'm going Ravens.
Yep, I'm completely on side with the
Ravens. They're like hot off the poker right now. They're ready to go.
Yeah. They're on fire, and I think if they win this, then obviously they go to 6-5. They'll have a 5-game winning streak, and it's going to look good for them to continue to jump above the Steelers, who are at the Bears this week. What have you got on this one?
I've gone Bears simply because of their defense, but I'm not. I like this. This is a game that I'm like, it could go either way.
Yeah, so we're in lockstep at the moment. I've got the Bears winning this one as well.
What do we think about Rodgers' injury? Is he going to be playing this week, or are they going to have a backup?
I mean, he had a left hand injury. I mean, it's not his throwing hand. He's probably got some discomfort. He might come out with a bit of.
It did take him out of the game.
It did take him out of the game, and I think they pulled him out of the game as well because I think they were winning comfortably at the time.
Yeah, true.
And Mason Rudolph isn't terrible. He's not a star backup quarterback, but he's a solid one. So it'll be interesting to see. And I think if the Bears make a surge and get hold of this game quite quickly, if Rodgers is playing them, they may pull him quite quickly and put Rudolph in there just to give Rodgers a little bit more rest.
Yeah.
Next game, we've got the New England Patriots traveling to Cincinnati Bengals. Who have you got on this one?
Again, I hate to say it. I say it every week. I hate to say it, but it's the Patriots. But also, I love to watch the Bengals lose. So.
I just don't think the Bengals have got the pieces in place. Flacco's doing a great job out there.
They've not got the defense for it.
They haven't got the defense.
Offensively, yeah. I think offense. I think they'll put points up. I just don't think they'll stop points scored against them.
Yeah, and I think the Patriots with Stephon Diggs and Mac Hollins and the other powerhouses they've got running back, I think this may be a runaway score for the Patriots on this one. And then we've got the New York Giants at the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, again, I got Lions.
Yeah,
I don't think the Giants, like, since they've lost Dart and they've lost Scatterboo, there's just nothing like cementing them as a team.
No, I think a lot of these games this week are showing the strength of teams against other ones. And although the Giants had a great game last week, I think that was the Jameis Winston effect. He's had that effect with the Buccaneers when he was there. He had that effect when he was at the Saints, but that soon dies down. And I think the Lions are gonna be a little bit stronger in this game, and Stafford Goff is going to be wanting to put things right after a couple of shaky games that they've had. We then got the.
I'm just gonna say, I'm enjoying that you also confuse Stafford and Goff for some reason.
Oh, yeah,
I don't know why I do it, but I really do it every
time. I mean, it's because both QBs are, although they've done a straight swap from Rams to the Lions and vice versa. I think both QBs have just had a resurgence in their respective places. So it's always great to see that. We've got a divisional matchup: the Vikings at the Packers.
Again, as I said a few weeks ago, I'm going to keep picking the Packers because I want to prove myself right. So I'm sticking with the Packers
until they get to that 8-win threshold.
They got to get to 8 wins, and I'm fine with
it. Yeah, I've gone for the Packers on this one as well. I don't think the Vikings have got much left in the tank for this season.
See, again, it depends on what defense turns up for the Vikings, because they could have the best defense in the league or a very awful one.
Yeah, absolutely. Next one up. I think this is probably tied for game of the week from my eyes. We've got the Indianapolis Colts at the Chiefs. I think this is going to be a really good game.
Going to be a good game, and this is going to hurt me to watch because I want to watch it as like a non-fan. Because I think as an outsider, it's going to be a good game, but for me, it's going to really hurt me.
And I think that's how I felt last week. That's how I felt last week with the Eagles and the Lions. Is I think the Lions would be my second team to support if I wasn't an Eagles fan.
Yeah.
And to watch those two teams go up against each other was, I'm still an Eagles fan. I'll always root for the Eagles, but it was. I'm pretty much where you are right now with this one, I think.
But it doesn't need saying. But how about those Chiefs?
Yep, I think you're absolutely right. I think the Colts traveling to Chief Kingdom. There is always that home field advantage.
I think our D has them.
Yeah, I think.
Our defense has been good for the last few years. So.
I think it's proven as well. As soon as you put Daniel Jones under a bit of pressure, things start going a little bit wrong. And I think if you can get, your defense moving down, downfield, get Chris Jones breaking through that line, put them under pressure, I think the Colts may buckle and the Chiefs should win.
I think a 5-6 man rush, something like that. I think if we keep doing that all game.
Yeah, I mean Spags will spark something.
He's not going to be able to do what he wants.
No,
and also we've also actually got a really good running defense as well. So I'm not actually that worried about Taylor.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm backing the Chiefs in this one as well myself. And then we've got the Seattle Seahawks traveling to Tennessee Titans. I think this one's a no-brainer for me. I think the Hawks are going absolutely annihilate the Titans.
Yeah, I completely agree. I wouldn't be surprised if the Titans put up a donut against them.
Yeah, it's probably going to head that way. And then the last game of the early window, we have the Eagles at the Cowboys, which is an exciting game. For me, hands down, Eagles are going to win this, even though they're going to be in Dallas. I think this is going to be quite an easy game for the Eagles to win this one.
I personally think this is going to be a strong fight. And the Cowboys have had a rough few weeks, so I've gone for the Cowboys just for the upset.
Ooh, okay.
I do prefer the Eagles. I do prefer the Eagles squad right now, but I just think the Cowboys could do the upset.
This is the first game we're actually different in our picks this game, so that's interesting. That's interesting. On to the late,
but also like when you play each other twice a year, coaches sort of get to know what you're going to do. So the Cowboys, if anyone's going to upset you, the Eagles, it's going to be the Cowboys or the Washington Commanders or someone who roughly knows what you're going to do repeatedly.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, we played these guys at the opening game of the season. We had the whole spit gate with Jalen Carter spitting on Dak Prescott before the ball's even been snapped.
Oh, yeah.
So this will be an interesting sort of matchup to see how Jalen Carter reacts to that.
It'll go one way. It'll either be the closest. It'll either be like a really close game that the Cowboys win, or you will fucking destroy them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what it's going to be. I think Jalen's going to go out there, guns blazing, trying to get into that backfield, and he's going to put Dak on his backside. But I think that again, this is going to be a defensive game for the Eagles, and I think although you've got George Pickens and some of the other wide receivers in Dallas, have we got Lamb back in this game? Is Lamb playing in this game?
I've not seen any news that he's back. He might be though.
Yeah,
I know it's around week 12 he was ready to come back, so he might be ready to come back.
The Eagles DBs are now clicking. They've got a fantastic defense, and I think this is going to be a comfortable Eagles win. Anyway, moving on to the late window, we've got the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Arizona Cardinals. I think it's with the Jags on their winning streak at the moment. I think the Jags have got this one in the bag. What do you think of this one?
Yeah, I've joined you. It was a little bit of a flip, like coin flip, but also like the Cardinals have really struggled to win close games all year.
Yeah.
So if this becomes a close game, then that's a Jags game.
Yeah. And then we've got the Cleveland Browns traveling to the Las Vegas Raiders. I think you summed this up in our chat before we started the stream. I think this is probably perfect. I'll let you lead with that.
Yeah. So for me, this game is going to be put onto Comedy Central.
Absolutely, I think this is two terrible teams going at it. I was very backwards and forwards on this who to pick. I initially picked the Browns, and then I found out Shedeur Sanders is starting, and then I flipped over to the Raiders because they're probably overdue a win. They're at Las Vegas. Does that really matter? Probably not, but my pick's going to go for the Raiders on this one.
Honestly, for me, I did the same. I was like undecided. I almost asked my girlfriend, but then I remembered how much I hate the Raiders, so I just decided to go against. So I went for the Browns. I literally went for the Browns because I hate the Raiders, because this game for me is probably going to be the only game of the season I don't watch. I might not even watch the highlights. I think it's really going to be a coin flip.
It's a coin flip. I don't know who's going to win. I don't really care who's going to win.
This is either going to be like a 6-3 or like a 45-42. It's going to be high scoring or extremely low scoring, and I don't know.
A game full of incompletions.
Yeah.
So moving on to the last
Punt Central. Punt Central might be funnier than Comedy Central.
Moving on to the last game in the late windows, we've got the Atlanta Falcons at the New Orleans Saints. Again, I'm not really to be fair.
Yeah, true. Again, I'm going Falcons. And also, mostly for my girlfriend who's watching, but also for people who might not have seen, there's a potential that the Saints are going to be the home team in Paris next year.
You've heard it here first, guys.
The Saints president has said about going to Paris next year. It sounds like he means it's going to be a team game. Who knows? I'm going to go because my girlfriend's French. That's why it was for her. But yeah, for me, it's the Falcons.
It's the Falcons. I'm going to go against you on this one just to keep it entertaining. I'm going to go for the Saints.
With the ugly uniform.
Yeah, the ugly uniform. Let's get it on. I'm sure Matteo will have lots to say about this next week. And then we go into our Sunday night game. We've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Los Angeles Rams.
So for me, this was a game that was I was flipping a coin. I was just like, I couldn't work it out. I've gone for the Rams, but I'm not sure. I'm still not actually happy with that choice.
Yeah, I've got the Rams number 2 in my power rankings, and I'm going to stand by my power rankings. I'm going to leave with the Rams.
I do think this is going to be a good game.
I think if there was ever an upset of a game, I think this could be it. I think this could be it. Especially if Baker's firing on all cylinders. He's obviously got that history where he did play for the Rams for a couple of games. Could there be something there? I don't know. It'll be a great watch, and it's actually a really good fixture for Sunday Night Football. I think they've got a really good game here. And then we move on to our Monday Night Football game, which is the Carolina Panthers traveling to the Bell Bottom in San Francisco. What are we thinking here?
I'm sort of torn. I've gone for the 49ers, but the Panthers have played some good games.
Yeah, I think Brock Purdy's back. He's chomping at the bit. He wants to get some points on the board. McCaffrey's having a comeback season.
But even as I said, McCaffrey's not running past 16 yards.
I think that's going to change this week. I think he's going to have a 50-yard touchdown, and I think this is going to be a fantastic game to watch. Write that down. Quote me next week. So, guys, that is it. That is another week in the bag. Thanks for watching. I'm sure Matteo is probably paralytic on some dance floor now, drowning in his own vodka, Coke, or whatever he's on. You've been fantastic. Sorry, I've not been able to read out many comments since I went out with an internet glitch. I can't see any comments. So if you have been commenting, I do apologise. I've not been able to post them. I can't see them on my screen. Anyway, guys, thanks very much. Thanks for watching. I've been Lee.
I've been Steve.